I was engaged in 14.3. We developed a major disaster scenario, and we tested the capability of Finnish and Baltic Sea regional response authorities to address such a complex major disaster. And it proved to be so that when we switched on the game, it lasted only 7 hours when the civil protection responsible people raised their hands up. We were unable to cope with that kind of scenario. Now, this is the so-called worst-case model scenario. But we used the weather conditions and all other parameters which we have already experienced in the region during this 2000 onwards. We did not just exaggerate anything. We used realistic scenario. We just turned the wind at that December-January period, turned the wind from southeast to the southwest to the northeast within the 48 hours, and we managed to decapacitate the whole response. So that is possible, and very catastrophic consequences to the nature, particularly to all human activity, including that of response. Now, we identified about 20 major gaps in that response capability and capacity. And those were complex ones. They emerged very simple way, very easy way. We became aware of those. And they are complex ones and referring to every sector, every aspect from top down and horizontally. And we did also, our colleagues did a study around Baltic Sea states about the civil protection arrangements and capacity, and they realized the diversity there. So we have major gaps, we have a very complex structures, we have very different cultures, we have very different operative concepts. Basically, I would suggest we are not capable and we are not able in an efficient way to use available resources to address any major disaster which is crossing the borders. Now, then the question about these programs, priorities, these political, these values or guiding concepts which we have been presented here yesterday, and we are repeatedly introducing those concepts into our papers. My understanding is that they are all relevant concepts. But what do these mean in practical terms? We are able to put a meaning at the functional stage, at the concrete work level, to some of those concepts, technical specifications, compatibility, and communication. Makes very much sense and is simple to perceive at the concrete level. But when it comes to the response at the more strategic level to these, we are lacking meanings. We are lacking shared language and shared meanings of the key concepts. So the question is, and we know that we should do something in order to put the meaning of such concepts as cohesion, collaboration, communication at the strategic level. So we have like a sandwich where we have the polito-strategic top and tactical, technical bottom, but we are lacking the beef. And where is the beef? And I tell you, it does not exist. We have to go to another working group which is dealing with the agriculture. We have to start growing our knowledge base and our relationships. We have to start developing that knowledge and those relationships which can share the understanding and which can then be available, not sometime in the future, but now when it happens. We did this project under the premise of prevention, but I realized that nobody is really addressing preventive measures and preparedness in that sense. But we are waiting for next accident to come so as to learn the lessons. Learn the same lesson we have been learning in the past. We learn to repeat our mistakes. We are putting all efforts to address an accident which we have been facing so that it is not going to happen tomorrow on us with the same consequences. But always throughout these, when you review the past 30 years of all kinds of accidents, which was part of our study, you realize that always the accident came a little bit different way, which as a consequence made us unable to efficiently respond to that. So we are not prepared to face something unexpected. Our exercises are exercising our functionalities and capabilities to pull this rope around the rock or something. But we are not able we are not ready to respond to unknown, unexpected. Now, can we do something to that? I think we can, and we have a concrete proposals also. We have to take the stakeholders around the table and talk about the requirements, what this situation calls for, and start writing down those requirements. And then discuss the capabilities, what we need in this region. Not functionalities, capabilities, whatever the situation calls for, requires, and then whatever the stakeholders requires. And then we have to look into the competencies, what we have around. I refer to, we have a very diverse set of competencies around that diversity, and then we have to discuss the roles of different parties, what they play in the macro-regional response, so that we don't need to have everything all, but we can really have a differentiated roles, differentiated capability units, and then we have the operational plans, how to operationalize when we, from the normal situation, turn into the emerging disaster scenario, or in case it is a reality. And then we need to define the information entities. We have to bring structure to this from the center out to the top and down to the technicalities. And this is a matter of compatibility is not happening. It must be designed into this. And now we are all, is it the HELCOM or any other, we are all through our programs and our sectorial work, we are just defining things for us as convenient and exercising and training as interesting and convenient for us. We are not designing compatibility from the conceptual through the operational down to the technical compatibility. And this design work must start now. And then we are able, I would say we don't need additional money, but we need powerful visions and powerful designs which are putting those who are in command of and control of the resources, are managing the resources to the strategic investments in this sense. We don't need additional money. We need just to strategically deploy the resources that we have at hand.